A very good morning and welcome to Sydney for the 15th annual Blackmores Running Festival. We have over 33,000 competitors who will be achieving their own milestones, while for the elite runners there'll be champions decided through some of Australia's most historic streets. And welcome to our viewers around the globe. Have a look at that. Sydney is a picture today. 65 different nationalities represented here, and the Australian marathon title also up for grabs. Sydney, a glittering jewel. We are seeing her at her best. However, weather-wise, it is a little bit overcast at the moment, and conditions should be all right though for runners. They'll be fairly cool, and we'll be able to hopefully record another record time. We saw 2 records last year. What are we going to see this year? Let's have a look at what is ahead for the runners. A shower or two, some light winds. The current temperature is 13 degrees. Joining me in commentary, we have got a couple of legends, including a man who won gold at the Moscow Olympics in the 800, bronze in the 1500. He's a gold medalist at the European Champions, World Cups and Commonwealth Games, a national champion, world record holder. Steve Ovett, OBE, is joining me in commentary. Steve, great to have you along. And sitting next to him, Commonwealth Games gold medalist, collected the whole set actually, with bronze in 86, in 1990 silver and gold in 94, and also a world champion. Bronze medalist over the 42 Ks, Steve Monaghetti. Monas, welcome to you both.
Lovely to be here, Ian. Steve, joining you for an exciting day again.
It certainly is going to be great. The calibre of talent is outstanding. Let's recap what happened last year, because we talked about it being a record time in both the men's and the women's, and of course mass participation. It's great to see so many runners.
Certainly a magnificent field. The finish last year, the times, both records, men's and women's races, Ethiopians, was outstanding.
Well, I think now the conditions today are perhaps even better than they were last year. So let's look forward to, as you say, possibly two records going in the race today.
Yeah, Gamita Burka stopping it at 2:11, and then we also had the wonderful Ethiopians coming through, as well as some mass participation. And look at some of the waves and plenty of crowd. We really enjoy it. We love it. So all is in readiness here, and we can get down towards the start at Milson's Point. This is for the men's half marathon, and there's some big names in that start list.
Brad Milosevic won City to Surf earlier this year in great shape. Probably would start as a favourite, I think, leading in. Yeah.
I think Brad, if he gets in the right sort of pace at the right time, will be obviously the favourite. You never know though, really, because the conditions here are a little bit windy. But I think overall they've got no problems really with the course, I don't think.
No, and the Japanese always run well here in the half, so expect them to be pretty prominent as well.
Okay, let's have a look at how the women are lining up, and there's some genuine local talent in there too.
Yeah, Claire Garrity, probably the most outstanding and the name we would recognise there. And yeah, there's a good field there. I think that'll be a competitive race, the women's.
Well, we've got a lot of Japanese in both fields, and Tazaki there, I think, also one to watch out for. So some good fields and some good competition coming up.
Let's have a look. 21.097 kilometres ahead for these runners, and they'll head north out of Milson's Point, then across a beautiful bridge around Mrs Macquarie's Road. Picturesque Sydney at its best underneath the bridge, back through Piermont and Darling Harbour for finishing here at the forecourt of the Sydney Opera House. So that is what ahead for those runners, and it's terrific to see them in there. We've got 15,000 runners, and 8,000 runners of those will be in the Blackmores Half Marathon. Have a look at Sydney Harbour. There's one of the most iconic buildings in the world.
Well, we come back every year and it never fails to amaze us, really. I mean, that's absolutely fantastic. And to finish in front of that for most of these runners, wow, you couldn't ask for better, really.
I think you know you're not going to miss it anyway, that's for sure.
Okay, here's the start. And look, nervous times for these half marathon. As I said, we've got 8,500 runners in this one. Lee Troop's won it in the past. Kerry McCann, of course, famous name in Australian running, also a past winner as well. So 21 Ks ahead. There's the gun being fired by our Blackmores ambassador, Jacinta Campbell.
And they'll be relieved now. They're away. That's always a good thing to get a clean start. It's a slight uphill start here, and you're actually heading away from most of the course, so they'll turn and get into their running.
I think it's becoming quite an iconic event, this, to win this now. You can actually say that you've won the half marathon here, and I think that's something which everybody wants to do. And I think these athletes will be out there running hard all the way. You can see now they're breaking up right from the start. No one's taking it easy.
No, they're seriously into their work early here.
Yeah, they are very early. This was recorded earlier, 6:15. They got underway with the Blackmores Half Marathon, and when you look at the way that this race has been run collectively across so many thousands of runners, over $14 million has been raised for charity since 2001.
Well, that's fantastic, really. I mean, that's the thing about a festival like it here in Sydney. It's not just about the competition. It's about having a great time and raising some money for charity as well. And I think if you can do both, then it's a great day out for everybody.
And the half marathon's probably the most popular. It's almost, I call it the normal person's marathon. You don't quite have to put your life on hold, but it's a very, very popular event now. And would at most running festivals be the most supported event?
Well, when you have a look at it, do people train? Obviously, most of these people are still going to be workadays or students, you know, people that have got normal lives, but they can obviously fit in enough training to be able to do the 21Ks.
Yeah, I think they're actually people who, they want a challenge. They're not just a fun runner, you know, they want to go up, step up to the next challenge. And they may be looking, if they have a good experience in the half, to then go on and run the marathon. Or they may have been a marathon runner who says, well, that took a lot of effort. I've ticked that box and now I'll come back and run a half where you don't have to quite...
it could be a stepping stone up to something, or you could be dropping, as Steve says, down from doing the marathon and taking it, not easy in a half marathon, but taking it fairly comfortably, I think.
Yes.
Well, the Blackmore's Sydney Running Festival, a key event on the New South Wales events calendar, and great support, obviously, from Destination New South Wales as well. But we do have people coming from all around, not only the globe, but also around Australia. Thousands and thousands of interstate visitors, and a lot of them might be coming for this.
To run over the Sydney Harbour Bridge, you know, the Opera House, it's a course that will certainly attract competitors.
Yeah, you can see the bridge in the background. So this was recorded a little bit earlier. They did get underway at 6:15. Of course, we've got the Blackmore's Marathon still to come, the Blackmore's Bridge Run, and also the Medibank Family Fun Run as well, over 4 kilometres. The Bridge Run is over 9 kilometres. So we are underway. It's a beautiful, picturesque, sunny Sunday here for the Blackmore's Sydney Running Festival. So plenty of runners decamping from Milson's Point.
It is a very popular event. It's certainly it's the event now. Most people that I talk to and want training, they actually do want to train for this event though. So it's good to see that, you know, they take it seriously, Steve.
Yeah, I think it's the sort of thing that well, retired athletes, someone like myself, would try and attempt. I'm not sure I would attempt a marathon, to be absolutely honest. Insanity doesn't go that far in my family, but I'd definitely give it the half marathon and give it a go. And I think some, you can see they're enjoying it. It's not a serious thing. It's just a matter of getting through that distance, isn't it? 21 k's, fair distance, and as you said, going over the bridge, fantastic.
Yeah.
There's not many half marathons that you can enjoy as much as this one here in Sydney. Absolutely fantastic.
No, I think that's the thing. And whilst there's a couple of challenging hills along the way, you get to, you know, you get Lady Macquarie's Chair, you're through the city, you've got the harbour, you almost got views of the harbour for most of the half marathon. So that's very attractive. And that's the thing now, it's a tourist thing. You might bring your family. Gee, I could think of worse places to come to run a half marathon than come to the Sydney and spend a couple of days here wandering around, just enjoying what is one of the world's great cities.
One of the other things, you know, you're watching this, I mean, you can see all shapes and sizes running it. I mean, you don't have to be an elite athlete to run a half marathon. You can just go at your own pace, do your own thing, enjoy it, walk if you want to a little bit, you know, jog a bit more, then run a bit more. So it is something which I think appeals to everybody.
And you would race against your own personal best. So I think, you know, people have ran this course before or ran another half marathon somewhere and think, yeah, I want to, am I in good shape?
But it's becoming established now, isn't it? So you might do it year in, year out.
Yes.
You know, and you say, well, this year I've done so-and-so, next year I'm going to try for this. Or you might think, well, this is my best time. This is my best time this year. I've done great. I'm going to go in next year and try and beat it again.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's either that or you say, well, I know I can't run that far, so I'll enjoy the day and enjoy what the event offers.
Yeah. Well, the conditions, as we said earlier, just at the start, they're absolutely perfect, really, for running. A slight breeze, and I think that'd be welcome. Last year it rained a little bit, I think, at the beginning of the races. And, this year, no rain at all so far.
Looks clear, high cloud cover. The wind, it's always a bit windy. We are here at the Opera House at the finish line, as people probably are aware, and it is a bit windier here, I reckon, because you're just right on the harbour as well, I reckon, boys. They're still coming through the start line. Isn't it amazing?
You're watching the Blackmores Sydney Running Festival, and this is beautiful Bondi. And Bondi, one of the world's most famous beaches, and with plenty of good reason. Golden sands, deep blue ocean, perfect waves, and of course you can see the Sydney CBD here as well. But Bondi is the place to go. Buzzing, glamorous coastal community, fringed by the beautiful sands of Bondi. Of course, here in the harbour, this is where we're looking at the finish and the forecourt here at the Sydney Opera House. Earlier we saw some vision of the Blackmores half marathon, and when you talk about some of those famous names, Karen McCann, Lee Troop, that have taken out that sort of one, I think that probably gives people, you know, real oomph to be able to say, gee, I wouldn't mind being able to do that as well.
Well, I think, as we said, we're watching the other athletes. They're warming up for the start of the main race, but yeah, the half marathon, if you win the half marathon, I mean, if I won the half marathon here at the Sydney Running Festival, I think that was a big tick in my CV.
Absolutely. So this is Milson's Point, and you can see some of the elite runners getting ready to take on the 42.195.
Yeah, it's great to see all the athletes just warming up here now. I think this is, Steve will probably correct me, but I think this is probably the best field they've ever assembled for this race, Steve.
I reckon you could be sure of that. I think we look at 7 sub-2:10 marathon men runners and 5 in the female race that ran under 2:30. So really good top-end quality.
Do you think this is the best marathon since Sydney Olympics to be on the soil?
Yeah, probably. Gold Coast this year was pretty good as well. So I'd say, you know, Sydney Olympics, you're always going to get the best fields ever, but I think the two here are pretty good.
Okay, we can get downstairs. Jessica Halloran has got some of the key people involved in the Blackmores Sydney Running Festival.
Well, thanks, guys. It's a fantastic atmosphere down here at Milson's Point, and with me today is Peter Osborne, the Managing Director of Blackmores Asia. Fantastic atmosphere here. Do you have many staff running today?
We do, Jess. Yeah, we've got about 1,000 staff here today, from staff of families from Australia, New Zealand, and also from all over Asia. So it's a really big day for us. We like everyone to get out here today and be a well-being. So it's a really big day for Blackmores, and I think a really big day for Sydney.
Can you tell me what the Sydney Running Festival means to Blackmores?
Well, Blackmores has been associated with the Sydney Running Festival for many years, and we think it's a really great event for Sydney and for Australia to get people and their families out being healthy and being a well-being. So that's the reason we've been involved, and we'll continue to be involved for years to come.
Dermot, what's the Medibank Family Fun Run all about?
Well, at Medibank, we're all about encouraging our 3.9 million members to take small steps towards better health. And the Medibank Fun Run is just a great opportunity to get out there, get some exercise, spend some time with the family, have some fun along the way, but really spread the message that small steps are excellent towards getting better health.
And what should families and runners expect today?
Well, firstly, we're going to be crossing the bridge on foot, which is quite unusual, so we get a chance to see the Sydney backdrop from a very different angle. Secondly, there is some exercise involved, so I'm expecting some sore feet from these two at the end. And then finally, it is also a day to dig deep and support some of the great charities that are here today.
And so, Dermot, your kids will be running today?
Yes, my kids will be running. This is Olivia and this is Lachlan, and they're both very much looking forward to taking part in today's Medibank Fun Run.
Kurt, you're hoping to head to your 5th Paralympics next year. I mean, how does this race factor in your preparations?
This is always my home. So this marathon is the one that started me. It's the one that I've did the most. It's really the only marathon I do in the country. So, mate, this is a chance to really just enjoy my run.
Can you talk to me about how it is racing over the bridge?
Again, it's like I'm racing from home. It's it's as good as it gets.
And he is about
and good luck.
He is about as good as it gets too, Kurt Fearnley. Now, he's got the Periscope gear loaded up to the wheelchair, and if you want to have a look at what Kurt Fearnley's doing, you can download the Periscope app. We're certainly trying it. It's new technology. You'll be able to see it on the front of his chair there. There's a camera facing him, a camera facing away. Download the Periscope app. You can follow @officialBSRF, and you can tune in right now. There it is. Follow @Kurt Fearnley or @officialBSRF, and you can follow Kurt throughout the race. Periscope, you boys will be all over Periscope.
It'll be a fantastic way to experience it, I tell you. They go crazy. He and Christy Dawes getting away there, and I reckon that is just such a fantastic way to be able to view the race from obviously get an armchair ride.
Well, I think eventually in another 10 years' time they'll be putting that on most runners, and you'll be able to see almost flick from one channel to another to see the runners actually doing the same thing. But Kurt actually today going well. And we'll see with the periscope, see what he sort of feels and what he feels and how he sees the actual terrain as he goes across it.
Well, you can see the apparatus on the front of his racing wheelchair there. Of course, Christy Dawes has owned it for the last couple of years. Kurt, I think, has collected, what's he chasing, 11 this
10
time
or
around?
11. He loves this event. He really does. He's such a fantastic supporter and just a great bloke. He's just a legend.
So fantastic, and you can see Periscope out the front there. So if you want to get involved in that, download the Periscope app, and it's a new initiative. As I said, we're hoping to all be able to get through the Twitter sphere, the stratosphere, all that sort of thing as well.
As Kurt starts suffering, he might regret having that thing on him. See pictures of himself suffering might not be the way to go. But we're going back now to the start.
And there's our defending champion in the women's as well, wearing the orange.
Double defending champion, so she certainly will be going for the three-peat today.
All right, now we can get downstairs because the man who is certainly responsible for a lot of this as well is the Minister for Trade, Tourism, Major Events and Sport, the Honourable Stuart Ayres MP. And we'll be able to get to Stuart in just a moment. We can see a lot of people here lining up. Let's see if we can check in with Stuart now.
Welcome to the Blackmores Running Festival, the best running festival anywhere in the world. You've got absolutely the most amazing route going over the Harbour Bridge, showcasing the Sydney Harbour to everyone around the world. Huge international participation, and the best thing about this event is there's something for everyone, from mums and dads and families right through to the elite athletes. There's distance ranges from 3 kilometres to 42 kilometres. It's a running festival that's about encouraging healthy, active lifestyles and all of the benefits that come from that. Make sure you cheer on the participants, and if you're not out there running this year, make sure you make the effort to get into next year's event too.
Absolutely. Well, there's not a bad job, is it? The Honourable Stuart Ayres MP, Minister for Trade, Tourism, Major Events and Sport. The New South Wales Government, of course, welcomes all the athletes, competitors, participants and supporters to Sydney, Australia's global city, for the Blackmores Sydney Running Festival. Nervous times ahead for these guys, the men and women?
Yeah, they always, you're a bit worried, did you get that last toilet stop in? How's it going to be today? Do I go out hard? Gosh, am I going to get away okay? Yeah, are my laces done up?
I think one of the big advantages for Degerfather, she's run it twice, so she knows the course, she knows how to do this, and I think that's a big advantage to someone like her. And she's in great shape, so we might see another record from her.
Yeah.
Okay, let's have a look at the calibre of talent that is here, because it's a gold class event where they've come from all over the world.
They sure have, and we've got a couple of debut. Even Lababi's got a very fast sub 1 hour half, so we've got his on debut as well.
Another one to watch out for, Rogero Patil of Italy, 4th at the World Championships last month, 4 weeks ago, and he's running here again. He's a real dark horse. He could be one to watch in this race if he's back in shape.
Yes, very experienced, but you never know.
Let's have a look at the women who will be doing the 42Ks around the beautiful streets of Sydney.
Well, it's pretty hard to go past Degerfather, but and they'll be watching out for her. No doubt she'll be the yardstick, so I'm sure. Jane Kiptu also ran here, very experienced as well. So, but just a quality field. I think we can't underestimate how good these fields are, and people need to understand that this is a world-class field, and we expect some really competitive running today.
All right, in starters' hands here, and waiting for it. So that's Peter Osborne, who is our Blackmores Managing Director Asia, and he has got the responsibility of getting it away. And you can see the Nissan car out the front there. Now that Nissan car, the runners will be very happy, because that Nissan Leaf produces 0 CO2 emissions, which the runners will be thankful for, and that will lead the marathon runners for the journey right around the spectacular Blackmores Sydney Running Festival marathon course. So they'll be following that blue car, which is the Nissan Leaf, producing 0 CO2.
I think it's a good innovation, really, for some of the guys that run here, because I know your senses are heightened when you're running, Steve. Sometimes you're following the bikes, sometimes the motorbikes. You do pick up that sort of, well, not toxic, but you do pick up the fumes sometimes. It can be distracting.
Oh, it can, but you want to see, because if you're near the lead car, you're near the front. So I always thought it was a good place to be, whilst it had its disappointments.
And we are away for the Blackmores Marathon. 42.195 kilometres ahead for these runners, and the internationals are out in front, and they'll be wanting to stamp their authority, won't they, early Motters, on the way this race is being run.
Yeah, and that's how it works. You know, the Africans and Japanese like to get up the front so they don't get caught in the mess, and that's where you just want to get a clean start away, and I think that's, we've seen that. You get a couple of other runners joining you for a little while, and you just want to be honest, you just want those guys to stay off to the left and get out of the way.
33,000 runners in total across the Blackmores Sydney Running Festival, 5,000 in this marathon. I love the way you describe them as the mess, because there'll be people taping this at home, they'll be having it on the DVD, they'll be watching it globally, and they'll say, Motters called us the mess.
Well, for the people up the front, though, this is a very serious, it's their business, and they need to have a clean start just to get away, to be able to, and it can be nerve-wracking, and once you take you a few Ks to really get it. You don't feel great early often, to be honest.
Okay, so we have got a half marathon finish here already at the forecourt at the Sydney Opera House, and the Japanese rider Ishibashi Saki, the Japanese runner rather, Ishibashi Saki, so well done to that runner. And here's our Australian coming home in second.
Brad Milosevic second, and just under 66 minutes, the winner there, and Brad just over. That's really fast running. So that's not, I thought Brad might get over the line there. He's been in great shape, but he'd be happy with that. Just over 66. Japanese winner, so no surprises there.
Big gaps though, Steve, between him and the others there, wasn't there?
Oh yeah, they get out pretty. They're running fast over the half, so that doesn't surprise me that there'd be once you get established on this course, it's very hard to close down those breaks.
Okay, we've got one of the local runners out front just leading, getting his moment in the sun. He potentially won't be there towards the pointy end of the race.
That's for sure, Ian. And again, they head away, and it's slightly uphill, and now they're turning and heading towards the bridge, so they'll start to sort themselves out pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's his moment in the sun there, really, isn't it? I mean, at the World Championships this year, 4 weeks ago, as we said earlier, they had Fun Runner leading the main elite runners for about 5K.
It's extraordinary, isn't it?
We thought it was a new star coming through, but actually, after about 5K, he gave up the ghost, and I think it might happen here today as well. We'll have to wait and see.
Well, if he was running 3-minute Ks, he would have had 15 minutes of fame, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he did.
For 5K. That was it.
He's a nice, tall piece of timber, our local leader at the moment. Let's run through a couple of the internationals, though. The Ethiopians, obviously, out in front. Eritrea as well, also featuring, and the Japanese runners as well.
And he's quite good. In the blue there, just at front left of screen, Gibram Gebreseghessi, I think probably my favourite. I'm not going to say early, but he's got great shape coming from Eritrea. He's just, to me, he's the probably form athlete coming into the race. So he's ran very fast again, under 2:10, and he just looks like he's on. He looks in shape. He's thin and ready to go.
Early days though, and as some of the others runners come through the start line, I mean, they've got the 42K up ahead, and it's going to be steady pace for them, just doing their own little rhythm. The watches have been clicked at the start there. They know what pace they've got to run every 5K, and it's a long, long way.
And how important is it for these active participants, people that run marathons for fun, how important is it not to be caught up in someone else's running? You need to be able to stick to what you're doing.
Yeah, they can now, and I think the good thing is that they have their own timing chip, so there's no hurry to go across the line because they get their own independent time, so they can get, place themselves where
but I know where Ian's coming from. The enthusiasm, though, doesn't it? At the beginning, like here we are, right at the very start. The gun goes, you think, all right, I'm going to go off, and they run too fast.
Yeah, I reckon I reckon if you're running the marathon, you're probably experienced enough to just get into your own pace.
Ryan Sango there, just pushing it through the pace. Pertil, there he is, just behind there in the yellow vest with black shorts. He's my dark horse, really. I think he could run well.
Okay.
You say he can't because he's run one 4 weeks ago, but I don't know. Maybe he can recover. The Italians are very good at that,
Yeah, I just think that I wouldn't be backing up that quickly. And, he ran so well there and had a dominant race. So he's used a lot of energy. I would think that, I'd be interested to see, but I think he'll be a bit tired. And he may be prominent early.
What about the Moroccan, the Labi?
Yeah, I like his form. Certainly he's
our
fast half.
Female defending champion, two-time defending champion.
Yeah, Dega Ferhu. And look at the men around her, and that's one thing, we have the mixed race, so she can get a bit of protection. But I tell you, a lot of the men will be running off her because, if you're running under 2:30, you're one of the, you're an elite Australian male running that. So she'll have a good pack around her for most of the event.
There's the back of the lead pack in the men. Anyway, as I said, yeah, this is an intriguing race. This is not just a case of one or two athletes here. There's a good group, as Steve said, of about 8 or so guys that can run under 2:10. They're going to be competitive all the way through, and it's going to be a game of chess. It's going to be a mind game as well as a physical game here, I think.
And a couple of strong Japanese runners, a couple of young Japanese debuting, but also a couple of Japanese who only have run 1 or 2 marathons. So their marathon career is taking off. So I think they could be the surprise packet today. 2:11, 2:12 marathon runners. Japan in our time zone, and we know the history of the Japanese. So certainly their women as well here have ran very well, but I just think their men will be a bit more prominent today.
What's the other thing we haven't mentioned is that now the marathon here has got the gold standard award, which means that most of the international runners take this very seriously now. This is the same as Chicago, this is the same as New York, this is the same as London now, and this is a big thing to win now. If you win this, it's a big thing on your CV, isn't it, athletically?
It is, yes, and you don't get that label unless you've got good support for the event.
You could see the car out the front there leading the marathon runners across the bridge. It's in that beautiful blue colour, the Nissan Leaf. And if you're talking about saving money, it's run 100% on electricity, costs about $4 to fully power it. Monas, that would even work in your wallet. Provides around 170 kilometres of driving, cheap and obviously great for the environment. So that is the Nissan Leaf that is guiding those runners across the beautiful Sydney Harbour Bridge. They're now starting to form up. Looks like a little bit of pace might be on as they head across the bridge.
I think it does actually, Steve. It looks like they're pushing it hard. I mean, it's Indian file already, so you expect, if that's the case, that the pace is actually sort of sorting them out already.
We are underway. The Blackmores Sydney Running Festival. The runners at the moment right on top of the Sydney Harbour Bridge.
Well, I've walked across that, and I think so have you, Ian.
Yes, yeah, absolutely superb to be up there, and there'll probably be a team of people that will have taken the early walk somewhere along the coat hanger.
So the aerial shot now just panning down to that lead group. As we said, there's a group of about 8 or 9 guys here that can run under that magic 2:10, and there they are. Look, just grouped together, spreading across and going across the bridge. Fantastic for them.
That is one of the. I've had the pleasure of running across that bridge in an elite race. It is one of my great memories, running over that Sydney Harbour Bridge, an iconic part. But you just feel the metal, you feel the structure around you when you run across there. It's a moment to enjoy.
Okay, let's try and identify some of this lead group as well while we have an opportunity to be able to do that, because obviously the break has been made and we've got what looks like to be 8 or 10 runners out the front there.
Yeah, Gabriel Zagabir, he's the one that I think Steve said he's in form, he's in great shape, and he's pushing it on. He's not hanging around at all here. I think he's trying to sort them out very early on, which is a dangerous game when you've got so much talent behind you, really, unless you're confident.
Yeah,
that's
it is.
The thing.
There's certainly pace on, because they wouldn't be in single file. And you just sense there's some urgency in their face. I'm not sure why they're wanting to get into their running so early, but there's certainly a sense of urgency up the front of that pack.
In second position, it looked in the yellow to be our defending champion, Gibo Burka-Gamita.
Correct.
So Gibo is also in there as well. They have to pay their money coming through the toll booths. Throw in their couple of shekels.
And it's interesting, Ethiopians tend to normally be quite conservative.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say they don't pay their tolls.
Not today, they won't be. Normally pretty conservative, and yet they seem to be. It's normally the Kenyans and Japanese who take the pace, but yeah, the Ethiopians are very aggressive, and you can see Eritrean Ethiopians saying, come on, let's keep this rolling, we're going here.
Yeah, they're pushing on, and I think that's a good thing. We could see a very good time here today. I mean, people are talking about maybe sub 2:10. I'm not sure. That's asking a great deal. I think conditions got to be perfect. You've got to push it on all the way, but you never know. I mean, with this sort of calibre of field, if they do that here today, that would be absolutely sensational.
Okay. We have a lead group of 11.
Yeah, I think if they broke the course record, I think that'd be some sort of run today, which is mid 2:11. So I think if they were under, that'd be great.
Do you need me to intro it?
My name is Bruktait Shatu Dagafa. I'm coming from Ethiopia.
I have trained very well this year. My previous time before coming to Sydney was 2 hours 26. Now I have improved it to 2 hours 23 and have done much better in New Mexico. I have prepared very well. I'm hoping to not only come first, I want to break the course record again. I'm very happy to be in Sydney. This is my third time. I love the city, I love the people, and I'm happy.
And what a delightful person and delightful runner. That's our two-time defending champion in the marathon. This is the first woman. This is our winner in a course record as well. Kikuyu Tsutsaki from Japan, number 317 in the half marathon. So fantastic work there. This is second place coming in, Monas.
Millie Clark just crossing the line, so just over 76. Really, that's a really good run from Millie.
So the Japanese featuring very prominently because it was also a Japanese men's winner as well.
And course record.
Yeah, course record as well. So the times are tumbling. Conditions are pretty good at the moment, and that's the first Australian home. Let's have a look at how it panned out in the men. Yashira from Japan, an hour 5:51. So they had the pace on before the Australians got home.
Yeah, and again, that's just reinforces that there's no reason why they can't run fast today, and they've certainly done that in the men's half.
Okay, this is back to the Blackmores Marathon.